Today's Bible verse is 2 Corinthians 10:5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. That's the King James. And then the ESV is, we destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ. So, casting down imaginations, that means that you would cast down things that aren't true. If you have imagination, that means you're thinking about things that aren't true. So, even if you have a vivid imagination, and sometimes imaginations are great, we want you to have, as children, good imaginations. But when you have an imagination of a thought that's not godly, we want to cast those things down. And also, it talks about arguments. So, sometimes have you ever felt like you're arguing inside your mind? You're arguing, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? You're arguing with sin to do it or not do it. So you're tempted to do something. You're trying to talk yourself out of it. So this Bible verse says that we need to cast down imaginations or destroy arguments and every lofty opinion. So a lofty opinion is something that's an opinion that goes against the knowledge of God or goes against the Bible. And we take every thought captive to obey Christ. So we take every thought captive. And I gave the example in the reading portion on Monday that we would take every thought as if we were playing catch with someone, and that we would catch the ball in our glove, and then we would decide what to do with it. We'd catch it and then decide, do I want to keep the ball, or do I want to throw it away or cast it off or throw it down or destroy it? So just like you would have to choose in a baseball game, when you catch the ball, who do I throw the ball to? First base, home plate, back to the pitcher, where do I throw it to? You have to decide. You caught that ball. That's a thought. It represents a thought. You have to decide what you're going to do with it. So I need you to think about taking every thought captive, holding it, inspecting it, deciding whether or not it's good, whether or not it's profitable to think about. And if it's not, you need to throw it away, destroy it. Don't let it gain an avenue by which to take over space in your mind. Another fun thing is when you do have these thoughts to take captive, you need to figure out what the thought is, if it is okay to think about or not. How do you know if it's okay to think about or what it is that you should be thinking about? Well, I gave the example for fear in the reading. So if I am bombarded with thoughts, I'm always catching balls that represent fear. I'm always thinking about fear. I always have these thoughts of fear come in my mind. What I would do is I would go to the Bible, which now we have online search engines, which makes it very nice. I would type in Bible verses on fear. And then I would decide, maybe it's not fear, maybe it's jealousy for me. So I would type Bible verses on jealousy. Then I would decide which verses spoke to me, particularly in that I shouldn't be jealous, and what should I be instead. And then I would memorize that particular verse to help me have thoughts of, being happy for my neighbor, being supportive of my neighbor, not jealous. The same thing with fear. I don't want to be fear. I want to have peace. So I need to find verses that speak to that. So when I catch the ball that says I'm afraid or I have fear, I don't think about that. I cast that away. I throw that ball away, so to speak, and I pick up a ball and I decide to think about something that is peaceful or that represents being happy for my neighbor if I'm struggling with jealousy. An important time to think about these things is when you have downtime. A lot of times you have downtime and you don't, have you have free time to think about whatever. During math class is not the time to think about jealousy and fear and peace. It's the time to think about math. So you have to be really focused. You can use this example of catching the ball. What should I be thinking about right now? I should be thinking about math class, polynomials and trinomials, or integers, or whatever the topic is for the day. You can use that as well. When you're sitting in church is not the time to think, oh, I need to look up a verse about jealousy on my phone, on the internet. So, no, during church is the time to focus on the pastor. He's throwing the ball to you at that point. He's throwing that thought, and so you're focused on the ball that he's throwing into your glove, and you take that and you ponder on it, and you leave it there, and you think about that, and you stay focused that way. So I hope that helps with today's verse in Corinthians. This is Paul talking, and I hope that this helps you have a clearer picture of what you're supposed to do with thoughts that are put in your mind by Satan, or thoughts that are put in your mind by other people. Your friends may put thoughts in there that aren't right and aren't true, but what do you do with? We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ. And that's a very important prepositional phrase, to obey Christ. And that's our ultimate goal in life, in thoughts, in word and deed, to obey Christ. Thank you.